Okay, so it's very common to say that we in America are not doing anything about gun violence, particularly gun violence hitting schools, but that's not fair. They are doing something. Take a look at this headline. Apparently, teachers were told to kneel before being shot with pellets during active shooter training. This is real.
That may or may
somehow.
not be the actual incident itself, but it looks like everyone who's not getting shot is having a good time.
Yeah, that might not be it, but I have a feeling that whatever it actually was, it doesn't look much better because that is actually what was done. This is at Meadowlawn Elementary in Indiana. It's part of their ALICE training. Alert, lockdown, inform, counter, and shoot teachers in the back with pellets.
No.
I think that's what it stands for, actually.
Evacuate, John.
Oh, evacuate, yes. Evacuate after shooting in the back with pellets. So yes, teachers were asked by local law enforcement to kneel down against the classroom wall before being sprayed across their backs with plastic pellets without warning. And if you think, well, that's the worst thing I've heard in a while, it gets worse. They weren't told that that was gonna happen. It just happened to them. A teacher said, anonymous teacher, probably anonymous because he doesn't want to get sprayed with more pellets, said, they told us this is what happens if you just cower and do nothing. They shot all of us across our backs. I was hit 4 times. It hurt so bad.
Like, think of that moment. Like, you're getting shot and someone whose job this is yelling at you and making you feel terrible.
This is what happens.
Like, I get it. I can see like the warped mind of someone who's like in this kind of thing all the time. Like the trainers, like I deal with these kind of intense situations all the time. I want you to experience the helplessness and fear that might be associated with this. However, they didn't tell anyone that they were going to inflict pain on them as part of a job exercise that a lot of them were like, yes, I'm into learning what to do in an emergency situation.
Yeah, okay, well, look, we're gonna go through the developments after the injuries because things have developed, but White County Sheriff Bill Brooks said it's a soft, round projectile. The key here is soft. Well, the key might be soft, but apparently it also is affiliated with other keys like welt and bleeding, because one teacher said she had welts in one spot where the pellet broke her skin. It was scabbed over for several weeks. He responded by saying they all knew they could be shot. It's a shooting exercise. Okay, so the only good thing here is that apparently Dwight Schrute did find new work after The Office. That is the only positive to come out of this. This is exactly the sort of training he used to do.
So the sheriff in the area is no longer using these pellets. This happened in January, and then after, like according to him, a few weeks later, we didn't even know they didn't like it, but a few weeks later, they started complaining about how they got shot with pellets, leaving welts and broken skin. And so these are all like his responses to it. He's like, I don't need a rule about it, but I'll stop. However, you guys are being kind of wussies about it.
Yeah, that's reassuring. Look, again, as I always say, I always reassure you guys, I am not in fact a psychic. I cannot go into people's minds, but if you're the sort of person that wants to surprise grown adults by shooting them in the back, that maybe means something.
But they weren't. They didn't know they were going to be shot.
That's the surprise part of it.
What is it? The people who spoke to the paper said that they were given paintball masks, which law enforcement said were a precaution for different scenarios throughout the training. That was the wording that they gave. Here's a paintball. Okay, fine. But like, imagine it's like we're going to learn what to do in case of an active shooter. Also, here's some paintball masks. What? Also, can you face the wall really quick?
Yeah.
Okay.
It seems like a
also,
power
we're
trip.
gonna shoot you in the back a bunch of time with airsoft guns. So airsoft guns have these pellets that are a little bit bigger than a BB gun. They say they're soft, but obviously they're not. They create welts. And obviously the people who are shooting them knew that because by their own logic, they're saying, I want you to have negative affiliations, including pain that go along with just sitting there and getting shot and doing nothing.
Yeah, and so look, I think that this should be a reminder that it's not necessarily always a great idea to give the unilateral responsibility and decision-making process of whether force should be used to people who can't necessarily be counted on to use it responsibly.
Right, and there's a lot of criticism of this. The way that the training actually happens is there's a central facility that trains people how to also train other people. So in this article by the IndyStar, they also said that essentially what happens is it's a game of telephone. So you go to the main training and then you learn it and then it gets disseminated to other people. And they say it's not a normal practice. It doesn't happen a lot, which kind of makes you wonder, like, is this, and apparently it happened they use these airsoft guns, whether they use the ammunition or not. They show up with guns. You saw in the one photo, it looks like a Nerf gun, but other airsoft guns look like regular guns, but they simply have an orange circle at the end of the muzzle.
Yeah, I get that, yeah.
But it's horrible. They did say that there were certain aspects of this training that they did like one instance when they were told to cower under a table, but they were given tennis balls to chuck at the person who was simulating the shooter. So they were told to throw these things at the shooter until he stopped.
Yeah, that should be effective. You're gonna have to hit him with a few hundred. I've seen American Gladiators. The first one doesn't usually stop the person.
Gemini.
Yeah, okay, so look, it might be that there are some people engaged in this program, the people who designed it originally, best intentions, they wanna help the situation. But to me, all of this is Donald Trump tweeting at George Conway. It is a complete distraction from actually fixing the problem. None of this, no matter how many pellets you shoot a chemistry teacher in the back with, is going to actually stop the problem of kids and teachers being massacred in their schools thanks to a combination of a sick culture with tons and tons of guns.
Right.
We could do something. We're maybe less likely to do something when we feel like we're doing something. When we have the ALICE program and other things like this, it feels like we're being responsible, like we're addressing the problem, but we're not addressing the problem. We just saw yesterday, New Zealand showed how to address the problem by addressing the problem, by actually making it harder to get the guns that these people so commonly use. And I want to give credit again to AOC for pointing that out in response to this story, saying, instead of training children, teachers, houses of faith, and concert goers to prep for being shot, we could just pass universal background checks, disarm domestic abusers, mandate safe storage, ban bump stocks, semi-autos, and high-cap mags designed to kill people. Now, that wouldn't necessarily stop all of these, but it certainly would make it less likely. And that is something that cannot necessarily be said for shooting people with airsoft bullets.
True.
Thank you very much for watching this clip from the Damage Report. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell on YouTube to get notifications of our new videos. And of course, you can catch the full Damage Report live every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on TYT Network on YouTube TV.